Hello guys، چطورین بچه‌ها؟ خوش اومدیم به یه ویدیو دیگه. اومدیم دوباره با یه ویدیو دیگه. این بار شاید این دفعه گیم نیستش و من اصلا حوصله نداشتم دیگه گیم بازی کنم. کالاف یه پارت دیگه شو گرفتم، فقط ادیت باید بذارم. ولی از وقتی نتفلیکس سر بازی روبلاکس قسمت اسکوید گیمش اومد روی ویدیو من کپی رایت زد، من دیگه یه ذره حالم بد شده بود و الان دیگه اومدیم با بازی که نه، درست یه ویدیویی که کانتنت توریه و پس هلو گایز، چطورین بچه‌ها؟ خوش اومدیم به یه ویدیو دیگه. اومدیم این بار با داستان‌های واقعا به قول تئوس که من از تئوس می‌دیدم، ولی ویدیویی که الان میگیرم ترجمه شده است فقط، یعنی زیرنویس داره و دوبله نشده و اینا رو من از اسم سایتش خیلی سخت، اسم چنل خیلی سخته. من حتما عکسشو لینکش رو تو دیسکریپشن میذارم، حتما به صفحه اینستاش سر بزنید. واقعا ویدیوهای خفنی داره. اگر به داستانی واقعی یا واقعا انی خیلی علاقه دارین، حتما به چنل اونا سر بزنید. داخل اینستاگرام چنل منم حتما فالو کنین، این بالا میاد. و چنل تئوس هم میذارم زیر، چون کلی واقعی عادی داره، ولی واقعی ما فقط احتمالا واقعی ترسناک کار کنیم. و پس اگه این ویدیو دوست داشتین حتما ویدیو لایک کنید، چنل منو سابسکرایب کنید، زنگوله بغلش هم بزنید. چنل اینستا منم گفتم که همین با دوباره دستم گیر کرد، این بالا میاد. حتما به چنل من سر بزنین و چنل منو فالو کنید. زود داخل اینستاگرام 1000 تایی شیم، داخل یوتیوب هم 100 تایی بشیم. پس let's play.
When I woke up this morning, I had no idea my life is going to change forever, soon. For the last few months, I'm struggling to earn a single penny. I lost my job during the pandemic. I'm drowning in debt, and my landlord has already given me the final warning. If I don't manage to collect $200 rent today, he will throw me and my pregnant girlfriend out of this house. Till now, we're living on Twinkies.
یعنی بدترین چیزی که اتفاق میتونه اسم قاتل اجاره‌ای، بدترین چیزی که میتونه اتفاق بیفته اینه که پول نداشته باشی، بعد همون به اقتدار ورشکست شده باشی، کاراتو از دست داده باشی و هیچ کاری نتونی بکنی. بدترین اتفاقی میتونه افتاده باشه برات. پشت باش.
And vendor machine snacks. But now, I don't even have money to buy that as well. All of our furniture is gone.
چی گفت؟ تا الان با دستگاه و ماشینای فروش تغذیه وقت گذاشت.
We're living on Twinkies and vendor machine snacks. But now, I don't even have money to buy that as well. All of our furniture is gone, as I had to sell them to sustain ourselves in this tough time. My girlfriend Kelly needs proper care and medication in this condition, but I can't do a thing for her. Being disgusted with myself and my life, I left home early today. Now, I am wandering in the streets, looking for one opportunity to earn some cash so that we don't end up in these streets. But fate is not looking up. I am exhausted. Can't tell if I have a fever since last night. After walking for 3 hours straight, when I didn't see any ray of hope, I sat down on the sidewalks. I felt like I'm going to faint soon. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Kelly. I picked up and heard her sobbing voice from the other side.
Jimmy, the landlord said he'll be coming around 7 p.m. and throw me out of this house. Where are you? Please come home and do something.
I could hear the bundled up pain choking her voice, but there was nothing I could do to save the day. I put my hands into my pocket, and a damn cigarette, a matchbox. There's no cash in my hand, and only $50 are left in my bank account. I don't remember.
$50 چقدر میشه؟ 50 الان حساب کتاب انجام بدید. 50 30,000 تومان دلار نمیدونم 30,000 تومان میده. خب 15 میلیون درآمد. 15 میلیون 1,500 نمیده.
Remember when I passed out? I probably lied on the corner of the sidewalk for hours like a garbage bag. When I woke up, cars passing by the daylight was gone. I quickly looked at my phone and saw it was 6 p.m. already. An hour more, and my pregnant girlfriend will wander in these streets like a beggar. Such a man I am.
خب که تو پول نداشتی چرا داری بچه دار میشی؟ یکی دیگر هم داری میری بدبخت میکنی. والا
Throbbing pain in my head made me nauseous. I vomited on the street right away. Somehow, I still managed to get myself up and look for some water. I took
اسم چنلشون هم همین بالا زده شده. Untraceable Skeleton. خیلی چنل.
a dingy alley on my left and found a tap. I drank as much as I could. Water is now my only option to suppress hunger. My phone kept ringing. The screen lighted up with missed calls from Kelly, but I didn't pick up once. What will I say to her? I don't have any money, any food, anything. After washing my face, my eyes went to a broken bottle lying on the ground. Yes, that's the only way out now. I can't tolerate the pain anymore. It will be a relief if I end my life and set free. I broke the bottle to get a piece of glass. I said to myself, one deep cut and all my pains will be gone. This is the only way out. I sat down in the dark alley.
بزرگترین اشتباهی که یارو فکر کنه چون پول نداره بدبخت و خودکشی کامش رو راحت کنه. باید یه کاری بکنه دیگه نباید همینجور زندگی تو راحت کنه خودتون.
And lit up the last cigarette I had. It tasted a bit funky, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Also, I'll cut my wrist.
این حرفم اشتباهه که این گدا حق اتحاب ندارن. بیل گیتس فکر کنم بود گفته بود اینکه توی یه خانواده گدا بیای به دنیا بیای یا داخل یه خانواده پولدار تقصیر تو نیست. ولی اینکه گدا از دنیا بری تقصیر توئه.
Once I finish this smoke, so it doesn't even matter. But what about Kelly? How will she survive on this street without me? Should we commit suicide together? No, I can't say that. She's with my child, a life growing inside of her. Oh God, please show me a way. But I knew no one is going to hear my cry. I remembered how I used to surf the dark web during my high school days while smoking just like this. I still have the Tor browser on my phone, but it has been a long time since I went there. Cluelessly, I opened up the Tor browser and started this old hobby once again. I don't know what I was looking for, but something kept telling me I will find a solution here, only here. After surfing for 10 to 15 minutes, an ad popped up in the corner. Looking for recluse? Hire hitman with only $50. I don't know what got into me. I clicked on it. A sketchy website opened and started asking for victim details and addresses. Once you fill in the details and make the payment, the hitman will contact you. I saw a way out. I can't let Kelly struggle in this cruel world after my death. She too has no one, just like me. And I can't approach her with this idea of suicide. My only way out is to hire a hitman and set her free from this blood-sucking world. I filled in the details, gave my house address. And I can't approach her with this idea of suicide. My only way out is to hire a hitman.
قاتل اجاره کرد. قاتل استخدام کرد زنشو بکشه. خب تو سر. واو. واقعا.
And set her free from this blood-sucking world. I filled in the details, gave my house address. My hands trembled while I booked murder for the love of my life and my unborn child. Judge me all you want, but I had my back against the wall. As I made the payment, a message popped on the screen. Hitman will contact you in a second. Remember, once you finalize the deal and disconnect this call, there'll be no turning back. Why? Why will I turn back now? There's nothing left for us here. It'll be better to end our lives than to spend it in humiliation and poverty forever. A call came from an unknown number, and I picked it up immediately.
Hello?
The job will be done in a half hour. Is she alone in the house? Yes. Once I disconnect, we will have no contact whatsoever. Is the deal final? I exhaled a deep breath. Tears rolled down my cheek as I tried to say yes. The man with a dense voice spoke again. Is the deal final? I took one deep breath and replied. Yes, the deal is final. The phone got disconnected, and I noticed the time was 6:30 p.m. Kelly might be sitting home, waiting for me to come back with money and save the day. I put the cigarette butt in the dirty ground and picked up the broken glass to bid goodbye to this world. Life is not the same for all in this world. I looked at my phone one last time. Once the clock strikes 7 and our doorbell rings, Kelly will rush to answer me, thinking I've finally returned home. Poor Kelly. She won't be able to guess death is waiting for her on the other side. I wiped my tears and went to slash my wrists with a sharp piece of broken glass. Just then, my phone rang again, but this time it was from my bank. Out of confusion, I picked up saying, "Hello?" A female agent said from the other side, "Mr. Andrews, we are happy to inform you that you have won our lucky draw this month. Congratulations. Your account will be credited with the prize money within hours." What? How much money is that? $10,000. You'll be getting the update soon. Thank you for banking with us. Have a nice day. The call disconnected and the broken glass fell from my hand. What? I have won $10,000? Finally, all our worries will be gone. I sprung up in joy. I couldn't believe this. I looked at the sky and screamed. Miracles do happen. Thank you, God. Thank you. But then, my heart dropped into my stomach. It's 6:45. The hitman is on his way to my home. Holy shit. I started to run like a mad dog. What have I done? What was I thinking? I cursed myself while making my way through the busy street. I have to reach home before him or else everything will be over. A few moments back, I had a family, but no money to take care of them. And now, when I have money, my family's life is at stake. I bumped into people while running. Some of them hurled at me with anger, but I didn't care. I need to reach home before 7. I have to. I was sweating like hell. My heart was beating in my throat. I knew the end is near. Each second is a step closer to doom. Oh, Kelly, my love, I can't let you die because of my incompetencies and failures. I was almost near my house when I accidentally tripped on a rock and fell hard on the floor. My ankle twisted and I entwined in pain. I tried to get myself up just when I heard a loud bang and a scream from a woman from my house. I took up my phone with shaking hands. The time was 7 o'clock sharp. I saw a guy wearing a hoodie coming quickly from my house and jumping into a camper van parked on the side of the road. The lines of the hitman echoed in my ear. Once the deal is done, there'll be no turning back. I started crying as my world broke apart. I had no guts to walk up to the house and witness Kelly's bloody body lying on the doorstep. I lied there hiding my face into my palm, sobbing like a lowlight when I heard a familiar voice. "Jimmy, what are you doing here? Thank God you came home." I looked up and saw Kelly standing in front of me. Fear was all over my face. I got up in extreme shock and said, You're all right? But that gunshot!" "I was packing bags when the landlord came. He was pestering me to leave right now, so I went upstairs to get my stuff when suddenly the doorbell rang and the landlord answered it. I heard a loud bang and now he is lying dead on the porch. I don't even know what happened. We have to call 911. Cops came and took our landlord's body. They interrogated us, and I didn't mention a single detail about the hitman. I'm glad instead of Kelly, our landlord opened the door. It scares me to think how ruthless these hitmen are. He didn't even risk confronting someone else. One payment, one kill. Doesn't matter who he killed and what impact it left. Kelly and I are in a better lifestyle now, but I haven't told her anything yet. Every day before going to bed, I try to muster up the courage to tell her the truth, but when I look at her smiling, holding our baby daughter in her arms, I step back. This one secret is going to be with me till the day I die.
تمام شد. خیلی تاثیر داره. نتیجه اخلاقی این ویدیو اینه که هیچ وقت به دارک فیک توجه نکنید، چون در صورت اشتباه میکنن و به جای دیگه برین که یه قاتل بهتری داشته باشه. نه بریم ویدیو بعدی.
I have always hated going to the park. And it's not because I don't like nature or anything like that. It's because I can't stand the sight of people playing with their pets. It just makes me want to throw up. Now, I know you might be asking, why would anyone not like the sight of cute dogs and cats? But after hearing this morbid experience, you too will never look at animals the same. My name is Taylor, and this horrific experience happened 6 years ago. I was 21 at the time, and I had just finished college. It was on a Thursday, and I had gone to the supermarket across from my apartment to buy some groceries. I barely had up to $10, so I bought very few things. As I walked up to the counter, I saw the cashier Jake staring at me. We weren't friends, but we knew each other as I lived close by. As I dropped the few things I bought, he looked at me and said, I don't mean to pry, Taylor, but are you low on cash? I didn't reply as I was embarrassed. He then
شرمندگی نداره وقتی پول نداره دیگه. خب توانت نمیرسه که چیزی بگی. این نفهمه میاد بهت نمیگه تو بدبختی. خب این حرف زشتی دیگه.
Then looked at me with kind eyes and said, it's nothing to be ashamed about, Taylor, but if you're up for it, I may have a job for you. Hearing being offered a job.
کسی رو نمیشناختین و گفت برات کار جور کردم، جور میکنم، هیچگاه به حرفش گوش ندید، چون تهش قراره به همون دارک وب بره. یا دارک وب بره یا خودتون میاد قطعاتون بیا کار دیگه با خودم قطعات کنیم بریم یکی بخور.
Piqued my interest and I asked, what am I going to be doing and how much is the pay? He then told me, we can talk about what you're going to be doing later. And regarding the pay, he then brought out $1,000 and handed it to me. I was stunned as I hadn't seen money like that in a while. He then continued with, think of it as an advance. But remember, with pay like this, the job is pretty something. He then asked for my number so that he could get back to me with more details regarding the job. A week passed before I heard from Jake. I had already spent $700 of the $1,000, so I knew I had to do the job now, as I had already spent my pay. But I just assumed it was going to be something like cleaning the supermarket. That night, around 3 a.m., I got a message from Jake saying, ready to know what the job is about? I remember telling him, it's pretty late, but sure. That's when he told me to download something called Tor browser. I was confused, but
یعنی فیلتری سایتیه مثل گوگل کروم و فایرفاکس که با چی میگم بهش این اوناست، ولی یه جوری فیلتر شده سایت نت سیاه که همون مثل دارک وب و دیپ وب میتونی داخل اون پیدا کنی. چیز خوبی نیست، دوبارش نرین کلا.
I did exactly what he said. After that, he sent me a link and he told me, I don't know if you've heard of the dark web, Taylor, but this is a link to the dark web. He then continued with, this link is going to take you to a website where you'll see videos of women eating. Think of it as ASMR, but with
ASMR هم که هر کی ندونه یه ذره به خیلی خوب. سلطان ASMR رو میدونیم که
it's a more serious take on it. He then sent the last message saying, this is just to prepare you for what you're going to be doing. And remember, that much money doesn't come easy. You start next week. And with that, he went offline. Now, a little feeling of dread began to creep up as he was at me to a site called All Natural. The first thing I saw was a slogan that read, welcome fellow true eater. I was asked to pay $20 to see the content, which I did. And when the page finally loaded, it showed videos of women eating raw animals. The first video I played showed a huge man holding a cage, seemed to be filled with kittens. I could hear the animals whimpering like they were scared. The woman in the video sat on a chair and she had a sick, devilish grin on her face, which displayed her blood-stained, rotten teeth. She looked like she was terribly ill as she looked pale and feverish. The man then took one of the kittens, and what he did next made me throw up on myself. With his huge hands, I watched him tear the kitten apart.
حالم بد شد.
It happened so fast that I couldn't hear the kitten squeal. He then tossed the carcass of the dead kitten towards the woman, and without hesitation, she began eating it raw. The sight was otherworldly as she ate it.
چه سمیه
Whole. I could see the little organs of the kitten spilling out of her bloody mouth as she ate it. It didn't take long before there was nothing left and the video ended. I screamed and I threw my phone away when the video was done. The noise had garnered the attention of my neighbor, who knocked on my door asking, "Taylor, are you all right?" I didn't want him to know about what just happened, so I quickly replied, "It's fine. I just thought I saw something." And with that, he left. I didn't fall asleep that night as I was deep in thought. I finally understood why Jake didn't tell me about the job before paying. And I understood why it paid so much, as over 15 million people paid to watch each video. I knew I had messed up, as I couldn't do it, and I also couldn't pay back the money. So the next day, I started avoiding Jake and the supermarket. After a week, I thought I had gotten away with it. But as I walked to my apartment that night, I was attacked by two huge men. And the last thing I remember was a white handkerchief being forced onto my nose. I woke up in front of a camera. I was surrounded by bright standing lights, which made it impossible for me to make out my surroundings. A huge man walked in, and with one look at him, all my suspicions were clear, as he was the man who tore animals apart in those horrific videos. And right after him, Jake walked in with a sick grin on his face. "Why are you avoiding my calls, Taylor?" I was scared, but I immediately replied with, "I didn't mean to. I can't do this." "Then do you have my money?" he asked. Fear filled me as I had already spent half of it, but I said the first thing that popped into my...
$700 خرج کردی نصفش $300 نصفش خرج
head. I don't, but I'll pay you back. I promise. Please, just let me go. "I'm afraid we can't do that," he said. "So what are you going to do to me?" "I don't want to eat the insides of animals. That's disgusting. Disgusting!" He screamed before slapping me hard across my face. "We are true eaters. Like the lions, we eat the right way. Directly from nature. We don't let our meal...
شیر معده‌اش میکشه. ناموسن ادیتور محترم یه دونه عکس شیر بیار اینجا همینجا این شیر دقیقا بکنم باید جلو صورتم بیارش این بر این شیر معده‌اش میکشه تو معدت نمیکشه آدمی گوزاله بچه بی پایین سرمون درد گرفت به قول مرده
be tainted by heat. We keep it all natural. Once he was done, I asked him, "So, you guys are cannibals?" And that's when he hit me again. "Don't associate us with cannibals, you dumb whore. Me and the 15 million people who tune in to see these videos are much more than that. We are enlightened. We are true eaters." I didn't speak as I was scared to be hit again. And that's when he gestured to the huge man that was standing in the corner of the room. "Ivan, it's time to begin." And as the huge man picked up a cage, I started to count down the last moments of sanity I was going to have that night. The creature in the box squealed as it was taken out, and when they brought it closer, I could see that it was a huge gutter rat. The animal struggled, but it was hopeless as the man began to pull it apart. It didn't take long before it tore in two. The man walked up to me with the carcass of the dead rat. I tried to run, but that was all natural. Once he was done, I asked him, "So, you guys are cannibals?" And that's when he hit me again. "Don't associate us with cannibals, you..." See that it was a huge gutter rat. The animal struggled, but it was hopeless as the man began to pull it apart. It didn't take long before it tore in two. The man walked up to me with the carcass of the dead rat. I tried to run, but that was when I realized I was restrained. He finally reached me and tried to force the carcass down my throat. I screamed and resisted, which led him to hit me. My vision had become blurry, and I felt them force my mouth open and force the furry carcass down my throat. No words can ever describe what I felt, but I felt like I was tasting hell itself, as different things that I assumed were the organs of the animal rolled down my throat. I began to vomit profusely, but that didn't stop them, as they just continued right after. It took 30 hellish minutes for it to be over, and I just stayed there quiet, as I had lost all zeal to fight. They untied me and took me to a small room where they kept me. I threw up all night, and I laid there in my vomit. Every night for the next week, I was taken to eat another animal, from sloths to puppies to little birds. Each one was worse than the last. It didn't take long before I began to feel ill. It was on what I assumed to be Friday. I started hearing loud noises from outside, followed by, "It's the police!" Hope filled me, and I was about to say, "I'm here!" I began to convulse. The last thing I remember that night was being surrounded by cops as I finally passed out. I woke up in the hospital to see my mom, a doctor, and my neighbor all standing around me. The doctor began to tell me how lucky I was, as a lot of harmful bacteria like salmonella and listeria that are normally found in raw meat were found in my system. I asked my mom how the cops found me, and she said my neighbor had noticed I had been missing for a few days and had called the cops, which led them to track my phone. I thanked my neighbor, Mr. Matt, for saving my life. Some cops then walked in and asked me some questions, and I told them everything I knew. They then told me that I was lucky, as over 70 women were found in the warehouse, and half of them were dead. They said the case was still ongoing, and they were trying to get to the bottom of it. At that moment, I knew to myself that there was nothing they could do, as over 15 million people out there were true eaters, and there was nothing anyone could do to fix that. It's been 6 years since this incident. I moved back in with my mom, and even with all the therapy, nothing can ever take away that trauma. I can't eat right, as I only eat when it's necessary. I also can't look at animals right because every time I see a dog or a cat, while people see the beauty and the cuteness of these animals, all I really see are the insides.
تمام شد. حالم از این ویدیو دارم. تئوس چجوری ویدیو میگیری هم؟ ندون یکی دوتا هم نیست. بعد واقعی عادیش شروع میاد عقب بخوره. لینک اون ویدیوی تئوس هم میذارم زیر همین ویدیو. داخل دیسکریپشن حتما بریم ببینید. خیلی ممنون که این ویدیو رو تماشا کردین. اگه این ویدیو رو دوست داشتید که مطمئنا دوست داشتید، نمیدونم چرا من حالم بد شد از این ویدیو. مخصوصا این دومی مخ رو نمی‌تونم. اگه این ویدیو رو دوست داشتید حتما ویدیو رو لایک کنید. من ساب کنید. تو خدا ساب کن دیگه. زنگوله بغلش هم بزنید. بعد چنل اینستاگرام من این بالا میاد، حتما فالو کنید. بعد چنل اینستاگرامی که همه این ویدیوها رو میذاره که ویدیو جهنمی واقعا اینستاش رو بهش گیر نمیده، ولی واقعا چنل خوبیه واسه اونایی که حالشون بد نمیشه. حتما برام ببینم. من نمیدونم دیگه واقعا بذارم اینا، ولی برید این ویدیو رو ببینید. چنل تئوس و آیدی اینستاگرام تئوس هم همین بالا میاد. حتما بریم به چنلش سر بزنید. چنل خیلی باله. بعد کلی واقعی گذاشته، واقعی ترسناک، واقعی عادی، انی اکشن که همون واقعی اکشنه و خیلی چنل بالیه. پس چنل من رو حتما سابسکرایب کنید که خیلی زود صدتایی بشیم توی یوتیوب، توی اینستاگرام هم 1000 تایی بشیم. پس تا ویدیوی بعدی پیس